recently, I can tell you something happened that is worthy of a space in the Guinness Book of World Record. There were 8 judgments delivered in one day.
Wow.
In respect of Warri Federal Constituency. And the court said that INEC should go and put his house in order. INEC should go and ensure that this process is done in such a way as not to disenfranchise anybody, as not to breach any procedure. INEC does not have the power to do anything. What INEC has the power to do is, 1, finalize its report, which it has not done. Now, if you finalize the report, you now forward it to the National Assembly for approval. Then the National Assembly now looks at it, the work you have done, and comes back to you. Then you now wait until the expiration. So you cannot be doing lawlessness and saying you are enforcing Supreme Court judgment. Now, despite the fact that the Supreme Court judgment was fraudulently obtained, we said, okay, let us see what can be done. Funny enough, after they obtained the judgment, when they wanted to set up the committee to do this delineation, what did they do? They still did not invite the Shekiris. Now, the Ijaw secretly went to Asaba Federal High Court to try to stop the last local government election. Now, they didn't include the Shekiris, but luckily enough, we caught wind of it. I went there, and the court gave me 24 hours to file. I filed, and they lost the case. I have the judgment. The judgment is here. Recently, just last 3 weeks, they tried to upturn the election of Honorable Thomas Ereyitomi by asking the court to set aside this election because this delineation was not done. The court again, when they did it, they didn't put us on notice. We now went, we joined. They lost again. It's not only the Shekiris that are crying foul play about the exercise. The Ijaws, they have 3 cases
in court. On account of this.
On account of this. And you know what they said? They said that the dollarization, in quotes, of the system enabled INEC to take some of their words and use it to beef up that of Baramatu. That is their case in court. You understand? It's currently in court. And you see, the truth of the matter is that not until...
Are you talking of the Urhobos or the Ijaws?
The Ijaws of Ogbijo.
Of Ogbijo.
Some persons have become fortunate enough to be awarded very succulent contracts. The proceeds from that contract is in turn being used to cause this whole rancor. An ex-militant is a criminal who will otherwise be prosecuted, who has said that he is repentant and he has asked for pardon. Now, so the PAP, the Post-Amnesty Program, is a DDRR program. Disarmament, demobilization, rehabilitation, and reintegration. Now, once you participate in it, you have disarmed. So you have admitted that at a point in time, you were illegally armed. Then you left your camp. Then you have subjected yourself to rehabilitation before reintegration. So it is an irony that we have spent trillions of naira on that very program, and some of those beneficiaries are the ones threatening that they would ensure that this country is ungovernable.
Delta State Governor Right Honorable Sheriff Warri yesterday, Monday, intervened in the tension arising from the ward and unit delineation exercise in Warri Federal Constituency, convening a high-level peace meeting with leaders of the Ijaw, Ishekiri, and Urhobo ethnic nationalities at the government house in Asaba. Now, the meeting, which brought together ethnic leaders, security chiefs, and top government officials, focused on preserving peace and fostering dialogue among stakeholders amid growing concerns over the delineation process. Now, speaking during the meeting, Governor Warri stressed the need for unity and peaceful coexistence among the people of Warri, noting that peace and security remain a central pillar of his administration's more agenda. Now, the governor said, "We want peace in Warri Federal Constituency. The stakeholders have assured me that they will keep to the peace accord. Now, under the more agenda, we have promised Deltans enhanced peace and security, and we do not need any crisis in our dear state. Warri is one family. There's nothing that we cannot resolve through dialogue. That is why I call this meeting even at a short notice. We are ready to work together and sustain the peace we enjoy. We will continue to work with security agencies and all ethnic nationalities to ensure lasting peace in the federal constituency and every part of the state. Now, the meeting ended with a collective commitment to ensure peace by all stakeholders. But the big question still is, what does it take more? Or rather, does it not take more than words to sustain peace? So what and how can it be addressed to give a more lasting peace? Well, these and more will take center stage on the show today. We're still talking about dealing with the issues and sustaining peace in the Warri South constituency, and also the issue of the word delineation that seems to be at the center of it all. That's what we're having as a major discourse today on Dialogue. And like I said, we're dealing with the issues and sustaining peace, especially in Warri Federal Constituency, especially after the word delineation exercise that seemed to be in the center of all of it. But anyway, as we do know, it's always interesting when we have a guest and someone that has a broad knowledge of what seems to be happening and what needs to be done to ensure more lasting peace. But apart from a lasting peace, but to ensure that the right thing is being done and achieved to see all of that. And to help us talk about this is no other person but legal luminary. I'm talking of Barrister Robinson Ariyo. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
A very good morning to viewers and listeners out there, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
Well, anyway, it's nice to have you here again, but you know, it's always interesting when you come to give us a full understanding. That's even where many will say the cocoa is, just if you allow me to say so. Yeah. But let's stick to it. But before we go deep into all the issues, yesterday issues arose. And there was no surprise that His Excellency himself had to call all ethnic nationality, the three ethnic nationalities, to really talk about ensuring peaceful coexistence, especially within them. But I really want you to give us a little of rundown of what you feel really transpired yesterday that brought about a breakdown of law and order.
Well, I want to commend His Excellency, the Governor of Delta State, for a beginner step. I call it a beginner step because this dispute has been on now for about 30 years.
30 years?
Yes.
Wow.
As we go on, I will let the viewers understand how it started. But if you look at how we started in this country, the first fear was the fear of marginalization. Now, today in this country, you hear the Igbos say, cry marginalization. You hear the Yorubas cry marginalization. And you hear the micro-minorities cry marginalization. Then you now have be forced to ask yourself, who is marginalizing who? Now, in the southern part, Niger Delta, the people here are viewed as people that are marginalized. But among the Niger Deltans are victims of marginalization themselves. But even within the micro groups, within the communities, are groups that feel marginalized. And that takes us to pre-colonial times. One of the reasons why the independence of Nigeria was delayed was the fear of marginalization. The British government then set up the Willings Commission to investigate how it will be possible to tackle the fears of minorities. Now, there were cries for additional states. There were cries for other sorts of reliefs. But the commission decided to insert certain provisions in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is today that of 1999, as amended. Now, one of the interesting provisions is Section 14 of that Constitution. By Section 14 of that Constitution, it is expected that every government, both at the federal, at the state, and at the local level, we organize its affairs in such a way that benefits and entitlements are not centered or concentrated in the hands of a section, an ethnic group, or nationality. And so you have the what you call the commission that takes care of federal character. To ensure that not only are these provisions in the Constitution, but they are monitored and evaluated to ensure that there is compliance. As a matter of fact, it amounts to some form of crime for a government not to observe these principles of equitable distribution. Now, talking about Section 14, it tells the primary role of government. And The governor of the state is the chief security officer of the state. Section 14 says that the primary duty and responsibility of government is the protection of life and property and the provision of an enabling environment for its citizenry to thrive. And that is what exactly he did. But I call it a beginner's step because he requires to understand the history and the nature of the conflict to be able to intervene in it. And so in life, we make two kinds of decisions. One is informed decision and the other one is uninformed decision. You may have the best of intentions, but if you don't understand the background and
if you're not properly informed about
you will not be able to treat. And that is why whenever anybody is ill, one of the first things that the hospital does is to send you for a test.
Most certainly.
So that they will understand what exactly is there. And that's what I'm going to do in the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
Now, in 1996, Governor James Ibori was the originator of this conflict.
Okay.
In 1996, he attempted to gerrymander Warri South local government council area.
Okay.
By altering the number, shape, and composition of the wards therein.
Okay.
Because the entire country had created, before 1996, all the ward structures, including Warri South. And as at that time, a particular ethnic group within Warri South, that is the Robos, were controlling 2 of the wards in Warri South. While the Shekiris were controlling 8. So we had 10 ward structure. And that is what is there till now in that gazette. Because you must understand that the creation of local government council areas is not the duty or responsibility of the state government.
No, it's that of the federal.
It's that of the federal. So when he did what he did, the Shekiris, under the leadership of Dr. Joseph Utumara, went to the Federal High Court in Benin and asked the Federal High Court to look at it, whether the state government could do what it did. Because the state government did it with the assistance of INEC. The court sat and held that what they did was unconstitutional, illegal, null and void, and set it aside. Now, he did that in 2003. The suit was instead in 1997. An interlocutory order was granted in that 1997. INEC never obeyed it. Until final judgment was also delivered. INEC still didn't obey it. 30 years after today, INEC has not obeyed it.
Wow.
Because what INEC is still using today is that illegally gerrymandered structure in which what they did was to expand those who had 2 wards to 6. And contrast those who had 8 wards to 6. And that is why you have a migration from 10 ward to 12 ward. And all those are contained in this book that I gave to you. Now, the problem started with that. Now, what people are calling the Supreme Court judgment today. Now, let me say this. First of all, we live in a society today that we call a civil society in which there is law. How did we come here? One of the explanations given, one of the most credible explanations given so far, is that of a jurist called Thomas Hobbes. He said that we were, first of all, in a state of nature, where life was short, brutish, and nasty, where might was right. And we're saturated with it and decided to surrender our rights to a sovereign in exchange for the protection of our lives and property and the provision of an environment for us to thrive. That was how we had government. So, at every point in time, we must understand that having government is an alternative to having force, rule of force. And when people come out to want to assert force, it is a contradiction of where we are supposed to be. So what then happened was that while this judgment was still on, the judges alone, not the rebels, the judges alone went with INEC secretly to court. They went to court without anybody knowing in 2011. Mind you, this judgment was given in 2003. Now, the only way you can set aside a judgment is when you take that judgment to the appellate court to be set aside. They didn't tell the court that there was that judgment. And that is serious professional misconduct. That is fraud in itself. So you can say without fear of contradiction, that the said Supreme Court judgment was obtained fraudulently.
Okay.
So what then happened was that they didn't put the Shekiris on notice. They didn't put the Urobos on notice. If you look at the judgment, you will not see an Urobo person there. If you look at the judgment, you will not see an Shekiri person there.
Okay.
The only people there are the judges and INEC. So you will wonder why
were those other two left aside? Or pushed aside?
Fraudulently. They didn't allow anybody to know.
Okay.
Okay? Now, take a look. I urge the viewers and the listeners to take a look at that judgment. That judgment was a sectional judgment. So what that judgment amounted to was shaving a man's head behind him. The Urobos who are today trying to enforce that judgment were not part of it. They are just opportunists who see that there's an opportunity for them to achieve what they have long wanted to achieve, to strike. So the point is that take a look at the judgment.
Okay.
Now, we have petitioned the relevant authorities because to deceive a court, not to let a court, every lawyer is a disciple in the temple of justice. When you approach a court, you are supposed to tell the court that there is a judgment. The Supreme Court did not know that there was a judgment.
Yes.
Okay? And that judgment up till today has still not been enforced. 30 years after. And those who are talking about, in the first place, let me tell you something. Those who are shutting down facilities are behaving lawlessly. And the government has to understand that there has to be law in the society.
Most certainly.
First of all, I will show you something. Do you know that delineation exercise takes step by step? There are 3 steps that are yet to be fulfilled before you can talk about enforcement.
Even an outcome.
Yes. Now, if you look at section 115, it spells it out. They went to court with this section to ask ask INEC to do what they said they want to do. This section, it reads, where the boundaries of any state constituency established under section 112 of this constitution are altered in accordance with the provisions of section 114 of this constitution, that alteration shall come into effect after it has been approved by the National Assembly.
Which has this constitutional mandate
to do so. Then, and after the current life of the House of Assembly has ended. Now, so you see, if people say they have Supreme Court judgment that they want to enforce, and at the same time, they don't study it properly to know the step, how can you be telling, INEC does not have the power to do anything. What INEC has the power to do is, 1, finalize its report, which it has not done. Now, if you finalize the report, you now forward it to the National Assembly for approval. Then the National Assembly now looks at it, the work you have done, and comes back to you. Then you now wait until the expiration. So you cannot be doing lawlessness and saying you are enforcing Supreme Court judgment. Now, despite the fact that the Supreme Court judgment was fraudulently obtained, we said, okay, let us see what can be done. Funny enough, after they obtained the judgment, when they wanted to set up the committee to do this delineation, what did they do? They still did not invite the Shekiris. We have their photographs here. They did not invite the Shekiris. What they did was to go to, this is the occasion of the inauguration of the committee. Who were those there? The Shekiris were completely excluded. It's in your book. These are their photographs. We have their photographs here. The Shekiris were completely excluded. So we now said, when
Mahmoud Yakubu was the INEC chairman.
Yes. So you can see they were excluded. INEC did not say, go and do delineation, exclude the Shekiris. By the way, on the records, it's only the Shekiris that are in Warri South, Warri Southwest, and Warri North. The Urobos are not claiming to be in Warri North and Warri Southwest. The Ijos are not in Warri South, and the Urobos have said it clearly. Judgments have said it. All those judgments are here. So let us not selectively choose judgment to respect
and those to ignore.
So basically, what then happened was that we complained that, look, you people cannot set up a committee to do such a sensitive activity without us. And what was more was that they made the chairman of that committee a person of Ijaw ethnic extraction, a leader. Then they now made the secretary also a person of Ijaw ethnic extraction. Now, you see, there's a principle of natural justice that is rendered in the Latin maxim. Nemo judes in casaswa. You can't be a judge in your own cause. You know? So, they violated all this. We still kept quiet. We said, okay, since this is what you want to do, let us go on. Let us see how you want to do it. They now came and went to the field, and they now did what they call a report, an interim report. When we looked at the report, and because the report had longitude and latitude, and you can use your phone. This phone is a very powerful tool. We entered all the longitude and latitude. We discovered that over 350 communities were from Ondo State
and Edo State.
From Edo State, were from outside. Then we documented all this, got a cartographer to do a report, and sent it to INEC. Then INEC now had to pause to look at. And you see, it leads me to the point that some of our brothers, you see, we are from the Niger Delta region, we are clamoring for inclusion in our wealth. When our neighbor is prospering, we ought not to be angry about it. But when a neighbor is prospering and using his prosperity to sink, then it becomes a problem. Now, because some persons have become fortunate enough to be awarded very succulent contracts, the proceeds from that contract is in turn being used to cause this whole rancor. What then happened was that we told them that you can't do this. Then they pumped a lot of money into the system to corrupt the system. So INEC was now looking at the report. Okay, let us see what would happen. Recently, I can tell you something happened that is worthy of a space in the Guinness Book of World Record. There were 8 judgments delivered in one day. Wow. In respect of Warri Federal Constituency. And the court said that INEC should go and put his house in order. INEC should go and ensure that this process is done in such a way as not to disenfranchise anybody, as not to breach any procedure. Those judgments are there. I did those judgments personally. Yes. I did those cases personally. So the point I'm trying to make is that all these attempts to deploy force, to deploy violence, rather than reasoning and rule of law, is what the problem is. So the governor has to understand the history. You know, no doctor will treat a patient without knowing the history of the patient. So basically what I'm trying to say in essence is that this is a matter that dates back far to 1997 till date that needs to properly be understood. And let lawyers who are for other parties read the Constitution properly and inform their clients. If you inform them, they won't be asking that INEC should do what INEC cannot do until INEC finalizes his report, sends to the National Assembly, and National Assembly comes back to it. The best you can say is that, please, INEC, hurry up your report. People are protesting now. They are on top of wellheads, saying that if INEC does not enforce 18, so you are asking that the Constitution should be violated.
No, that brings me to my next question, because it's surprising when we have people screaming for enforcement. We're in a very civil society. And like you said, the rule of law supersedes every other thing.
Absolutely.
Now, that's the bone of contention here. Yes, we've been having these issues way since May 20th, when INEC released that report in Asaba. But we've not had the issues of people taking the laws into their hands, which brought about that breakdown of law and order yesterday and prompted His Excellency to call for that meeting. But let's even come back to the issue of enforcement. Does it make any sense that some certain people will take the law into their hands and block our national wealth, all in a case of something that concerns 2 other ethnic nationalities? You know, I really want to understand.
Absolutely not. That's why I referred you to section 14, that the primary duty of government is security of lives and property, and the protection of the citizenry, to ensure that people are able to go about their normal. When you conduct yourself in such a way as to threaten public peace, it's an offense under the criminal code. you understand?
Yes.
Many people ought to be arrested and investigated. Now, that takes me to a point. You know that there are many of these people who are ex-militants.
Okay.
And an ex-militant is a criminal who will otherwise be prosecuted, who has said that he is repentant and he has asked for pardon.
Yes.
Now, so the PAP, the Post-Amnesty Program, is a DDRR program.
Yes.
Disarmament, demobilization, rehabilitation, and reintegration. Now, once you participate in it, you have disarmed.
Yes.
So you have admitted that at a point in time, you were illegally armed. Then you left your camp. Okay? Then you have subjected yourself to rehabilitation before reintegration. So it is an irony that we have spent trillions of naira
on that
very program, and some of those beneficiaries are the ones threatening that they would ensure that this country is ungovernable. You see, in a country where there is M&E, monitoring and evaluation, the government will review the amnesty program, withdraw that part of it, and prosecute such a person. But what is happening? Those people are being encouraged with patronage of contracts.
Okay.
You see, government is part of the problem. There's need to do a background check on persons that are being awarded such sensitive contract, because it is not bad for you to build the capacity of your citizenry. It is not bad for you to build the capacity of our neighbors.
Yeah.
But you must look at the background of those people, because your capacity building is not intended to create this kind of rancor. So if your capacity building is creating it, you have to review what you have done to ensure that that person does not receive the kind of patronage. Because, you see, whenever you kowtow to threat and harassment, you are encouraging lawlessness. And that is why one of the most outstanding policies of Israel is that they don't negotiate
with
terrorists. Because when you do, because what is happening here is terrorism. Terrorism in the sense that you are trying to hold the government to ransom. You are trying to ensure you are blackmailing the first lady, you are blackmailing the president, you are trying to wreck the economy. And that, in fact, I miss former president Olusegun Obasanjo. Obasanjo will not take this rubbish. And if Wike were our president, he would take this rubbish. Nobody has the monopoly of power. Violence. We have decided to leave the state of nature in which might was right to come here. So if we are doing rule of law, let us do rule of law. If we are doing rule of
anyway,
force,
but they even started the issue of rule of law.
Good.
So why not come
Thank
to
you
the
very
end
much.
and
but even the law they started it fraudulently. You know?
Yes.
Because it will. Are you not shocked that the Shekris are not parties to that judgment?
And when they are major determinants.
Of course. So we have reported the matter appropriately. So the government needs to be firmer. You don't deal with terrorists or people with terrorism disposition with soft clothes.
Okay, now, Barrister Robinson, the elections will be one of the reasons many people are pushing for this, to try to see how they can twist the other ethnic nationality into having more favorable outcome when it comes to the elections, which is funny enough, fast approaching. But my question now is, yes, the government has said everybody ceasefire, hold your peace. But like we said, we're in a very law-abiding country and society. Is there any pending case now in court telling everybody, the governor has come to talk about this yesterday, but as it stands now, is there any case instituted against INEC to hold sway the word delineation as it stands?
Yes, and that's why I talk about corruption. You see, it's not only the Shekiris that are crying foul play.
Okay.
About the exercise.
Okay.
The judges, they have 3 cases
in court. On account of this.
And you know what they said? They said that the dollarization, in quotes, of the system enabled INEC to take some of their words and use it to beef up that of Baramatu. That is their case in court. You understand? It's currently in court. And you see, the truth of the matter is that not until...
Are you talking of the Robos or the Ijos?
The Jaws of Ogbijo.
Of Ogbijo, okay.
See, they made... Look, I have... Everything is here. They did 2 publications on national dailies.
On account of it?
On account of it. You know? They were crying out that, look, this is fraudulent. This is fraudulent. They've come to shortchange us. This is fraudulent. Now, I'll show you something very interesting again. To show you that the entire thing is a scam. Now, what happened was that, do you know that this is the report.
Okay.
The report, the cartography report that shows all those.
Yes.
Now, this is a judgment that was delivered. There are 2 judgments here.
Yeah.
One of them by the Supreme Court.
Okay.
That the judge should no longer lay claim to Warri Urban.
Okay.
So if this judgment is there and it's a Supreme Court judgment, and you have another judgment, you know, you want to use that judgment
to enforce
something that is, and you know, even the Robos have said, times without number, that the judges are not in Warri South. Okay? Now, this is the judgment, if you look at this judgment, that declared the word structure, which Ibori did, as null and void. Okay. Now, this document you see here was a document that INEC used to deceive us. We were enforcing the 2003 judgment. And because they secretly went to court with the judges, and they were the judgment debtors, they were the ones that were supposed to do something. They secretly went to court with the judges. They lured us with these terms of settlement. It was the head of legal in INEC that sent this. His name is T.M. Inua, SAN. He sent this in 2021 that we should amicably resolve the contempt because we were to send the chairman of INEC to jail for not obeying the judgment. You can see the date here is September 2022. Then they now got the judgment in the Supreme Court in 2022. So I have reported this matter to the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee and the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, because what has happened here is that you were aware that you have a judgment that you ought
to have enforced.
You went to another court without telling the court that there was this judgment. Pending. Then you lured the person in court with you to believing that you want to settle because you want the outcome of the other judgment
to be favorable.
Now, I want to say this. There's no part of the world in which you can set aside a judgment without taking the judgment to the upper court. And there was no way they would have taken the judgment to the upper court without the court asking, where are the people who have this case, who have this judgment? So, the summary of everything is rule of law is sustainable. Rule of force is never sustainable. When you kowtow to force, you will continually do so and render the society ungovernable
and lawless. Okay, now where do we lie at the moment? Yes, you've now said the governor, as we said, has called for peace.
Yes.
But if these underlying issues are not resolved, the peace might not be lasting.
Yes, good. Now, that takes me to an issue. Let us understand the bigger picture.
Okay.
In Delta State, there are 25 local government council areas.
Yes.
9 are controlled by the Delta Igbos.
Yes.
8.
Delta North.
Delta North.
Okay.
8 by the Robos.
Okay.
3 by the Jaws.
Yes.
2 by the Sokos.
Yes.
Now, the only local government council areas that the Shekiris control are Warri South, Warri North, and Warri Southwest.
Okay.
Mind you, there are Shekiris in many more local government council areas like Saple, Ethiop, and all the rest. Now, when what you are bringing to the slaughter table to be slaughtered are the only local government areas that the Shekiris are laying claim to, you are not taking those other ones that the Shekiris are in to the table, then you are not obeying the principle of non-discrimination. So, you see, the point is that this is a typical case of oppression of the minorities in the state. Oppression of the minorities in the state. And the minorities are supposed to be protected by the Constitution. You know? So the point is, let us understand that what is good for the goose
It's also
is good for the gander. Why? It was the same time that the local government council areas in Saple were delineated, that Warri South was delineated.
Was also do.
So the question, therefore, because
so why are always issues here and not there?
Not there. Now, listen. Warri is a place that everybody wants to belong. People have said that my father is not from Warri, and I agree to that. It is my mother that's from Warri.
Yes.
But it is because of that joy of wanting to partake in Warri that I'm actively involved in Warri.
Yes.
So what that tells you is that many people want to partake in Warri. Warri is a brand. When you talk about Delta State,
it is the brand.
It is a brand. And so, because it's a brand and typical of port towns, everybody wants
to migrate.
To have a share. But the question we should ask the other side, because it's give and take.
Yes.
What you want to take from me here, can you give it to me in Saple? Can you give it to me in Etio? Can you give it to me in where? Because we can live a good life if we all accommodate ourselves.
Yeah. And be fair.
And be fair. Do unto others what you want them to. Look, recently, we're talking about Community Development Center to address the issue of marginalization and minorities.
Yes.
The only local government council areas that were picked by the government was Warri North, Warri South, and Warri Southwest. What happens to the Shekiris in Saple? What happens to the Shekiris in Uwe? What happens to the Shekiris in Ethiop East, Ethiop West? You see, let us do unto others what we want them do unto us. One of the 10 commandments is love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
You see, the point is that communities all over the world either adopt an exclusive approach or an inclusive approach. Those that are most progressive, even in Nigeria, are the ones that include. Look at Lagos.
Yes.
Why Lagos is the center of excellence? Why it's a brand today is because it's
everybody, irrespective of your ethnic nationality.
There are towns in this state that don't sell land to strangers. Those towns, go and look at them. I don't want to mention.
Yeah.
Go and
look at how far they've gone.
You understand? So everybody's free to come to Warri, but also ensure that indigenes of Warri who are in other places receive the same thing. That is why I said that the governor is taking a learner step because he needs. You see, a meeting does not address conflict. Fortunately enough, you introduced me as a lawyer.
Yes.
But with all due respect, all sense of humility, I am more than a lawyer. When I introduce myself as a student in philosophy, it's because I have a degree in philosophy.
Okay.
Now, when I also introduce myself as a peace building practitioner, it's because I have certificates abroad in peace building. So you have to understand the nature of a conflict.
Yeah.
And
to fully resolve it.
Exactly. So the governor has good intention, but without the requisite knowledge
of the issues.
But
has he now? Yeah, we know that peace has been called for. Yes. But has he reached out to the Shekiri nation? Has he reached out to other ones to come on board and see how these issues can be resolved? Because that's where it will finally go.
So you guys are doing a great work because this is the fourth estate of the realm. One of the things you can do is to ensure that this issue are put out in the public domain. And I'm sure that a personal assistant or an executive assistant might be listening to this
Most
program.
certainly.
So when he does, it is my hope that that person listening will do the governor the favor of telling the governor that this is the history.
Yes.
And I will even commend this book.
Okay.
This book was written under the leadership of the former INEC chairman. And that is why I call it INEC and Corrupt Practices, the Siamese Twins and Warri Federal Constituency. This book is a compendium of everything
the cases,
that you need to know.
For the past 30 years.
Let me tell you two interesting things. The Supreme Court judgment, part of what the judge asked for was that the Supreme Court should stop election until delineation was done. Supreme Court refused that order.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Deliberately. Because the Supreme Court knows that there are steps
to follow.
Now, it just secretly went to Asaba Federal High Court to try to stop the last local government election. Now, they didn't include the Shekiris. But luckily enough, we caught wind of it. I went there, and the court gave me 24 hours
to file.
I filed. And they lost the case. I have the judgment. The judgment is here. Recently, just last 3 weeks, they tried to upturn the election of Honorable Thomas Ereyitomi by asking the court to set aside this election because this delineation was not done. The court again, when they did it, they didn't put us on notice. We now went, we joined. They lost again. So you can see that consistently, there's need. You see, the only way you can resolve this kind of dispute is to follow the law.
And that's what you're recommending for the state governor.
Exactly. I will recommend a copy of this book to the governor. Unfortunately, I'm not a politician. And I no longer want to be, because I attempted.
I'm happy we introduced you as a legal practitioner, because we want to understand. You see, Nigeria is built on our constitution.
Yes.
And if you flag or disregard the constitution, you might be introducing crisis.
Of course.
And it's always good to ensure that things are done orderly via the Constitution 99 as amended, to ensure that things goes on well.
Yes.
That is why we even have to bring you here. Not on any political ground,
of
not
course.
on any even ethnic nationality. We needed to set the record straight via the law. And that's what we also will be appealing. Just like what you said, we'll be appealing for the government to do the needful. Yes, they've done that of yesterday, ensure that the peace reigns. But what comes next is as important as what the peace will give, and that is going through the constitution.
If I may help the governor, in a situation like this, the global practice is for the governor to set up a committee, because the governor is not a repository of knowledge. Even the United States governor, president does not rely on his personal knowledge. So what I expect on issues, what I expect the governor to have done is to look for credible persons, who are not partisan,
in any way.
Set them up and give them terms. Commission. Give them terms of reference. One, investigate the underlying cause,
the genesis
of this
whole issue.
Two, interact with critical stakeholders and extract from them solutions. Because you see,
for a lasting and binding peace.
Exactly. That's the road. That's why I called what he has done a learner step. Because he should really not be the one to be there. He should be the one to accept what has been brought. Because if he's the one there who is going to accept what has been brought and issue a white paper on it, it's So there is need for a proper understanding. But as a professional, I'm not a public person, and I don't want to be a public person. I want to still be within the technical scope of this whole engagement.
Okay, well, anyway, I know how engaged you are, but you needed to come to straighten this and let us really understand it. And I'm really happy and really thrilled of your deep knowledge, especially as it concerns this. But I will not let you go if you do not really ask for a lasting word. Yes, you've just given the government free advice. I know you will not be charging them on that, a legal fee on that, or what needs to be done. But a lasting word, because it's important we do this. You said it yourself. Everybody wants to lay claim to Warri, because when you come home, that's what gives you joy and peace. And you cannot be at home when it's on fire. I want a lasting word from you as it concerns this issue. And a quick one, just like 5 minutes. Talk to everybody. And when I mean everybody, I mean other ethnic nationalities that are drumming for unnecessary rancor when there seems to be none. So now, I want that advice to everyone.
To the government, I want to say that the way to go is for the government to adopt the carrot and stick approach. There's something that is not being done in this region. Those who are peaceful are not being encouraged to be peaceful. Because when you punish an erring person, you are trying to ensure that the person does not err again, and people who are watching will not
take suit.
Now, but somebody who is doing a great work, who is doing the work of accommodating people, who is doing the peace work, you also need to encourage the person with reward. When you reward,
so he can continue to be peaceful.
Exactly, and other people can emulate. What does it profit an average Deltan to embrace peace today? Nothing. So the government has to change its policy. For example, the governor can have part of his budget allocated to the community that was most peaceful in 2006. The next community will want to be peaceful. So we need to incentivize peace actions. Just like we discourage criminal actions. So it's two sides of the coin for the government. Now, for the Ijaws, Urhobos, and the Shekiris, Warri can be like Lagos. And if it is, it's everybody that will benefit. Your children and your children's children. Let us start thinking more globally. Let's accommodate the Shekiris in Saple. Let the Shekiris in Warri accommodate the Urhobos in Warri. Let the Ijaws in Burutu accommodate the Shekiris in Burutu. So that we can speak with one voice. We can say we really have a Niger Delta. Today, we can't say we have a Niger Delta. Now, the Shekiris will not be bothered about who is guiding their pipelines if the person guiding it is not redirecting the funds to take over their land. So we need to understand all this. Why are people saying Tompolo's contract should not be renewed? Because of what they have seen Tompolo do with the money. That's why they are saying it should not be renewed. But if Tompolo decides to keep his money, to use it to attract more development to the region, then nobody will say anything about it. But a situation where somebody is chronically decided on a particular part of destruction and extinction of a tribe, that tribe will naturally have to wake up. So, Delta State, indeed, Warri, the way it can be is for everybody to be accommodating. Let the Urhobos accommodate the Urhobos. Most of the time, it is conflict merchants that do not want peace to be. So I encourage the Shekiri man to accommodate the Urhobo man. I encourage the Urhobo man in Saple, in Ethiopia, to accommodate the Shekiri man there. So that we can really say we have it. The Shekiri man who is in Burutu should be accommodated going forward. So, and that can only happen when we know the truth. We know that in these local government council areas, where do you want the Shekiris to go to in Nigeria? Okay? The Delta Northerners have 9. The Urhobos already have 8. The Ijaws have 3 in their cooler. The Isoko have 2. Why? Why not be your brother's keeper to understand that these people also need to belong to a place? So that's my...
Well, anyway, what better way to wrap it up rather than that word of wisdom and word of advice, and really sincerely from the heart, especially as it concerns all you've said. But most importantly, for me, is the rule of law. That is so important. Absolutely. Everybody should stick by it and ensure that that is being respected, not just for this generation, but the future generations to come. But anyway, I feel it. What needs to come is a big thank you to you for spending your time with us. We'll be talking for close to more than 50 minutes or more. And I really want to appreciate your time for coming and giving us a deep knowledge of what the issues are. And not only that, but also freely giving to the government of Delta State what measures to take to ensure that it's a lasting peace and not just one on paper. Barrister Robinson, Ariyo, I really want to say thank you so much for your time.
You're always welcome.
Anytime, I really appreciate your time with us. Well, anyway, that's more like a wrap on the show today. And I will always insist, the discussion does not end here. Let's get your views, comments, and reactions on our different social media platforms. We really appreciate them. What do you feel needs to be done to ensure lasting peace right here in Warri? Everybody will say it's a home for all. But indeed, democracy and indeed the Constitution needs to be respected to ensure that that's really stick on. But I still remain Michael Gobadia. We need to go on a break now. Remember, the news will come shortly. But stay with us. It's still Viewpoint right here on Atlantic TV.